Welcome, ladies and gentlemen of the old world. I hope you're all doing well. Today, my friends, we're back with a land battle. It's going to be Kislev facing off against the Lizardmen here, and we're going to be unleashing the bears facing off against the Dark Lord Falcon. So it should be quite a bit of fun. Now, of course, a lot of you guys were asking about land battles and how much I'll be covering them, so I figure I'll take a quick moment here to kind of talk about this a little bit. So, obviously, since we've had our hands on the Immortal Empires, land battles haven't been a huge priority because, the more interesting thing is seeing, let's say the Greenskins versus the Empire on domination maps. That's something we haven't seen before, whereas like doing Empire versus Greenskins on land battles wouldn't be terribly interesting, right? This is stuff that we've seen 1,000 times, and not much has changed there other than a couple bounce things, but regardless, that's one of the main reasons we've been focusing on domination. But going forward, of course, I will be covering land battles as well as domination battles. Most of the mainstay tournaments, of course, will be domination. I think it's a little bit more of a user-friendly format. Obviously, we don't need rules. It's a contained environment, like more of an RTS experience. But faction wars are still going to be land battles. I'll be having land battle events, of course, once a week or once every 2 weeks. There's going to be all kinds of stuff. So for those of you guys who enjoy land battles here on the channel, fear not, they'll be back. I still have an absolute blast playing them. I think land battles are an amazing format to play when you're amongst friends or, folks that aren't in the sweatiest of environments. But where the issue becomes is like, if this were a really sweaty land battle, probably a lot of the army would be camping in the forest and, maybe towards the corner of the map. There can be issues you run into for sure that become very unfun to police in a super sweaty competitive format. But again, for invitational tournaments like faction wars, which are mostly going to be invitationals from folks in the community who I know for sure have good attitudes and are going to be good in land battle environments. We'll do that. And of course, we'll be having some open events as well. But anyways, just wanted to talk to you guys about that for a second. So fear not, land battle enjoyers, it will be back. Now, as far as my build goes here, it's going to be Zargard. And really, this is pretty much my opening build I would bring against lizards in domination mode. It's not different. Zargard are very dominant against all lizard infantry with the exception of Temple Guard. And I don't think we're going to see too many Temple Guard here. So Zargard into the sunset. They're super tough. They're silver shielded against the Lizardmen skirmish. Really tough to kill. Now, I know that Falcon, I've played against him a million times with my Empire, and in my experiences, he really likes to use Pterodon Riders to just nuke your back line and drop rocks on your, stealthy and shooting units that are a little bit more expensive. So what I opted to do was actually bring my armor-piercing shooting via the heavy war sleds, and back here bring the armored Kossars with their pistols as a secondary infantry unit, but more importantly, to just sit back there and shoot up at the Pterodon Riders, because you don't need armor-piercing to kill the 15 armor of the Pterodons, right? And heavy war sleds are very, very good against lizards. Huge armor-piercing shooting. They have Streltsy on the back, so they can just sit and, pick off dinos and whatnot. And you can see they're getting some beautiful shots up into the Pterodon Riders right there. And we do also have a Patriarch. The Patriarch is like a key to this build. If you're going to be going with war sled play, you need this guy because he does have the Brazier, which gives AoE healing. He needs to be in combat for it, but if you're fighting, he's going to be healing your nearby sleds and replenishing their vigor. And we have an Ice Witch of Tempest, just to use the Blizzard ability to bomb like blocks of Saurus. And if he had come in with Temple Guard, that's one of my tools to try and eliminate those. Now for Falcon's build, it's going to be Oxyotl, backed up by a Feral Stegodon. He does also have a Bastillodon with the Solar Engine shooting into the back, Saurus, and all sorts of dinos, man. Bastillodon, Solar Engine, Arc of Sotek to kill my infantry. Feral Stegodon going to be super good against the Zargard, and we will see how that goes. Now up here we do see the heavy war sleds shooting into the Pterodon Riders. Getting some nice shots, bringing him down to about half health, but honestly, he returned the favor pretty well. You can see some of the javelins as well as the solar engine shooting in, and it kind of makes me think a second solar engine would have been super devastating here for sure. My sleds do get beat up though, and my Patriarch needs to move over there and provide some healing as the lizard army is going to be advancing up and preparing to engage against the host of the mighty Kislevites. Saurus in the front, though, should be pretty favored in most of the infantry engagements. The unbreakable status makes them able to hold up to the lizard's leadership most human infantry would run. And here comes the frontline fight as the Zargard, who are almost as big as the Saurus, mind you. The Saurus are kind of like hunched over a little bit. If they stood up straight, they'd be taller, but yeah, the war sled's going to move in, cause some disruption, get some good infantry damage. You can see that the Saurus warriors get buttered up there, but Falcon responds by sending in the Feral Stegodon and the Arc of Sotek, and we're going to respond by summoning a Snow Leopard using our lady here, our caster, Ice Witch. One of the reasons why I think she can be a little bit better than Katarine at times is because she does, of course, have the Snow Leopard. Now, Zargard get around the side, fighting Saurus, having pretty favorable engagements. I do use a big Blizzard right here, so the Blizzard was nice, but Falcon dodged it and actually lured me a little bit into my own Blizzard, which was a little bit painful. And, at the end of the day, it's not the worst thing in the world, and the Saurus do get beat up, but not my finest moment. Now, War Sled's going to be moving in once again. Now they're moving with the Patriarch to get the constant healing. They run through the Saurus here, and those Saurus are getting their bread buttered so hard by these bears. War bears are just super, super nice, and they're going to continue getting around the sides, moving in, and running down these skink cohorts with the old javelins. One of the sleds is broken, one of my big tools, and as this battle was progressing, I was getting a little bit more nervous because I saw that he had some really healthy dinos, and my war sleds were, starting to get a little bit tattered. And outside of that, my only other real anti-dino tool is the Patriarch, who of course is on the bear, which gives him big armor piercing. And if I were to make a little bit of an amendment to this build, I'd probably put the Ice Witch on a bear as well, so they could help take down the big dinos. But the sleds are just causing absolute havoc on the lizards. running through the skink cohorts. And, you know, most of my Zargard are in good shape. We got one here, one here, one here. The only one that got a little bit beat up was on the flank. It was being attacked by the Stegodon, was having a little bit of a tricky fight there. So sleds are pulling back, and you can see the big Stegodon's going to be hunting me. As far as speed goes, it does have 50 speed. My sleds have, actually only 56 with the poison applied, so he's able to kind of close the gap a little bit. Zargard pulling back here. I was blobbed, so I decided to pull back so he wouldn't rock drop me into the Shadow Realm. And now the sound you all remember from Warhammer 2, guys. The dreaded Manticore summon of Doom is here. So the Manticore is out, and it is looking for blood. Probably going to be diving in, looking for my characters, trying to get the Ice Witch. And you can see the Stegodon is trying to fight the Ice Witch over here, doing okay, as we get a huge blizzard coming down, which does hit the Sara Spears. And that was pretty ideal for sure. It's not going to like one-shot them, not as good as like Pit of Shades or anything like that, but still, this is good damage. I mean, Saras are a very, very tough unit to finish, so any sort of serious work you can get done on those guys is quite nice. Now, pulling back with the Ice Witch being hunted by the dreaded Manticore summon, we do have the double heavy war sleds shooting into the Ark of Sotek here, and now I know it's a big priority. I have to make sure to get rid of these. And I put the Gust of True Flight. It was the only other spell I had, so I was like, screw it. It gives accuracy and range. And look at that, man. They actually do a good job taking down those Pterodons, and even if he rock drops them, it's not like an expensive Streltsy unit. Kossars are a little bit cheaper, and of course, even if they get rock dropped, they can still function in melee pretty decently. So can Streltsy, but I think against the rock drop and a veteran tournament player like Falcon, it would just be a disaster. And he would have just rock dropped my 3 or 4 Streltsy. They'd all be like on death's bed, and I'd probably be in danger. I think you have to play a little bit differently. So Zargard chasing, Falcon just dragging me out a little bit. Zargard in the front finally getting worn down. You know, the presence of the big dinos, the Stegodons and the Ark of Sotek is kind of wearing these big boys down, but what I love about the Kislevites, man, just their ability to hold is just so solid. And they're going to be getting their Unbreakable trait soon. They're wavering right now. Heavy war sleds coming in for round 10, I would say. And the Bears are going to hopefully help break back the Lizard infantry. In the backfield, we do get the Stegodon hunting, as we do get the Patriarch to chase down that Bastillodon with the Ark of Sotek, so we were able to snipe that with the sleds. We have more Zargard coming in, and honestly, this is just a razor thin game. Both sides are taking pretty incredible damage. And the Ice Witch of Tempest circling about, while the Kossars do an excellent job just shooting down all these annoying flying units, which of course could be sniping my characters and causing problems. If you guys are Kislev players and you end up in a land battle or even a domination battle against lizards, I highly recommend the heavy war sleds. If you go with the light ones, they only have 50 armor, and they get killed actually by Pterodons and Chameleon Skinks and things like that. You really need the armor in this matchup. Also, Saras tend to lack armor piercing, so having the extra armor there really gives you incredible staying power. Now, what you do as a Lizardman player against heavy war sleds is you use Feral Cold Ones or Cold One Spear Riders. If you are able to catch the sleds in open field, you could just absolutely massacre them, and it's a pretty bad time for all. Now, we gathered up the sleds. I did use the Salax Lullaby, so that's going to be getting fat healed. The Bears, their wounds are being mended. A little bit of pistol shooting from downtown, but now I'm like, let's let them rest a little bit. Let's chill out. Our Vigor is fresh because of the Patriarch's Brazier, which has been giving them access to the Vigor replenishment, so they're feeling pretty good. And now we're just shooting in, trying to kill the dinos. I know that if I kill his dinos and force it into an infantry fight, we should be okay. He still does have Oxyotl up in the bushes, and Oxyotl, I'm not sure what he's been shooting the entire game. I would imagine he's been shooting at the sleds, which would probably be the appropriate decision, and yeah, he is. So that's what's doing a lot of the damage there. You can see Oxyotl has probably been able to get a couple sled kills. Now, big blizzard here. I pull back my Zargard. I run them up the hill. Now, some of them are going to get caught in the blizzard, but, you know, they'll be embraced by Orson's Cold Embrace, and I'm sure they'll be all happy about it. But we do nail the Saurus once again. So the big Vortex is hitting the Skink cohort, as well as the Saurus here. And several of the mighty Slavs back here, the Zargard, are going to be rallying and getting ready to go. So as far as everything goes, we have Sara Spears. We have Sara Spears coming this way. We do have the Bastillodon with the Solar Engine, the Skink Priest of Beast. Oxyotl is going to be a little bit of a problem, but both of us are kind of biding our time, taking our little breather right here. As I get back and heal a little bit, continue to shoot at the big dinos. The Zargard with Tor's Battle Hymn, dude, rocking 76 melee attack, just certainly rivaling that of the Chaos Warriors. Really able to push in there. And now more Armored Kossars will be surging in. And I have to say, I really do enjoy playing Kislev in land battles. They feel very fun there for sure. So over here we do have the Zargard. The Zargard have the Dazen Song of Winter, and also we have the Patriarch and the Armored Kossars, all that sort of good stuff. And the grind is on, man. He's got Asara Spears, he's got Oxyotl in there, the Master Predator, but we do have that constant healing, and this is what's really nice. Like, if we had brought Streltsy, they wouldn't be quite as functional or cost-effective here in fighting, but having these, like, late-game, silver-shielded Armored Kossars. And why do Kossars have silver shields, and then you look at things like Dwarf Warriors and Ironbreakers, and they have bronze shields? It doesn't really make sense to me. I mean, I guess... yeah, that doesn't make sense. Like, the dwarfs' like surface area is also smaller, right? So you would think they would be able to kind of protect their bodies from missiles a little bit more effectively. I think that'd be a nice buff for dwarves for sure, because they're just so bad right now, which is a bit of a shame. In land battle, dwarves are pretty much as they were before. They'll get wrecked by anybody with good armor piercing and chariots, but they can hold their own against like factions that don't have that. So not too much has changed. Now, Patriarch going after the Feral Stegodon. We've been shooting all day with the heavy war sleds, and the big Stegodon here getting beaten up, but the Zargard finally do get terrified. And the reason why they were able to be terrified is because their passive had already procced. So I believe it can only proc once over the course of a game. Let's go ahead and check. Yeah, so I think it can only, uses is 1. That'd be super OP if that was not the case. So we have a pretty big blob of lizards here. We charge in with the bear sleds and run over some of the SARs here and try and help out some of the armored Kossars, which are fighting and, you know, covering their retreat a little bit, but they are on the run here. Thankfully just shaken. So that means their passive is already procced as well, I think, or no, there it goes. Interesting. So they were able to get terror routed before their passive proc. So they still can be terror routed. That's an interesting change. I don't think it used to be like that, but maybe there was some patch that CA did in some of these early builds that changed that. Nonetheless, we do have the Ice Witch of Tempest and the Patriarch and the crew kind of gathering back, going to be letting the Kossars fight tooth and nail while we try and win this fight over here. You can see the Pterodons are going to be swooping in, although I think the Pterodons coming back here to just kind of fight closer to the big dino could have been a little bit better, but we are going to get a decent isolation here. And this is Falcon's big alpha strike, right? He's ahead on the bounce of power. You can see it's getting a little bit tight. But the reason why he's ahead is because of the Feral Manticore. So this is very common in Warhammer 2 battles. Really skilled players in land battle will withhold Manticore summons to the late game, and they use it as like a backbreaker, you know, to just get in there and finish you off, and also to tilt the bounce of power. But of course, summon units do disappear. Their binding to this realm will fade, and now we just need to deal with the Solar Engine. The Lizards are really, really bare bones on troops. I have a couple Zargard coming back, which is nice. We got 20 Zargard right here, and 5 of these Brave Lads here. These guys have been just going absolute beast mode this entire game. Only 300 value, but they've got a lot of kills, man, and they've been able to hold, and that's really the important thing, allowing the sleds to do the heavy lifting. I believe several of my other Zargard got over 1,000 value. I can't quite recall, but they've been doing well. So Chariot's moving there. That was a little bit of a mistake. He had spears, and he also had his Bastillodon there, but we try and get a little bit of a charge onto those guys. And now we're going to be waiting for the Zargard to come in. We need to get some AoE punishment. But thankfully, if I didn't have these 25 Zargard here, I think I would for sure 100% be dead. But now that the Manticore is gone, this is like, Kislev is really good at blob fights with the Patriarch. I'm getting AoE healing. I'm getting AoE vigor replenishment. So you can see my heavy war sleds are fresh. You know, the blessings of the Kislevite gods. And these guys are active right here. We have very tired. We have exhausted. We have exhausted. So most of the Lizard's vigor is really, really in the cans. And you can see they're starting to buckle. The Star Spears are being pushed back. The heavy war sleds with their bonus force infantry really, really causing some massive problems as the Kislevites continue to just push through the ranks of the Lizard Empire. And thankfully, we got the Patriarch on the bear. So this is going to get a little bit scrappy here at the end. I mean, he does have 3 SEMs. Oxyottl's in pretty good shape. We do have a Skink Priest, a Beast moving in, and we do also have a Bastillodon with the Solar Engine. So Cold-Blooded is active. The Frostbite is indeed here. So the Beast isn't going to be able to run away. So I know that the Skink Priest, you know, could lay a little bit of a beating and kill my characters. So I just get the War Sleds, which are pretty, you know, tanky against these. And I just kind of run them down and push them away. Whereas Oxyotl, I know if he's allowed to sit and shoot at my characters, he can easily kill them and 100% win the game. So we send some Zargard after him. The Song of Winter Sunlight is also active, which is pretty cool. So they're fresh again, and the War Sleds. Because I know these 2 characters are going to be able to eventually get this Bastillodon here. In the meantime, the grind is on, so we'll do a little bit of fast forwarding here as we do continue to scrap. So bouncing back and forth, trying to break this Bastillodon, circling around for the rear charge here. The Lizardman character comes back, we get the sleds, we punch him away again. You can see a little bit of a tactic there, and we try and knock him over perpetually so he isn't going to be helpful in combat, and we need to break this Bastillodon. But overall, the bounce power is coming back in our favor as the Kislevites do rally here in the 4th quarter. Zargard and the heavy war sleds able to take down Oxyotl, and if we can get this Bastillodon gone, we have enough characters with the Patriarch, although the Patriarch is very, very beat up, that we should be able to get the army losses and win the day. Oxyotl himself is also wavering. Like, Zargard are just so tough to remove. And that is going to be GG well played. So there you have it. You know, land battles, man, I really enjoy them. When I'm playing with friends and, you know, people who are good sports, it's a really, really fun format. And certainly a little bit refreshing to get back in and play some land battles after mainly just playing domination for so long. But again, for those of you guys who are mainly interested in land battles, kind of my plan is to alternate between them daily. So like we'll have like domination land battle, domination land battle, domination land battle, with a slight leaning towards domination tournaments, like more consistently, since we have the total tavern infrastructure. We have like a really set up tournament scene for domination. And then we'll have, of course, faction wars will be land battles. So there's a little bit of bounce there, right? There's going to be all that sort of fun stuff. So guys, don't worry. It's going to be fun. Let's take a look at the breakdown. Heavy war sleds, crazy good. One of them got shut down, and yeah, Falcon and I were talking after the game. Essentially, I think if he had brought some clever girls or some spear riders, he would have been fine. The Zargard, yeah, 1,200 value here. A lot of them kind of did get shut down, but it doesn't matter. They tanked and they provided a screen for these guys. Patriarch did good. Ice Witch did good. And honestly, the shooting from these Kossars in the back was really nice. I mean, they pretty much single-handedly dealt with most of those flyers. Oxyotl, of course, pretty good. Yeah, he was able to work on the sleds. I think the Arc of Sotek seems to have gotten nerfed. I'm not sure. It didn't really do that much. If he had had another Solar Engine, I think he kills my sleds and wins the game too. So there's some back and forth there. It was really close. GG, well played, guys. We'll see you on the other side. Take care of yourselves, and Urson bless this ravaged game.